Here, I'll tag you on it as soon as we go live. It's coming. Del Rio, Texas. Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's one of the most beautiful sunsets I ever saw was in Del Rio, Texas.
We have some, yeah, especially around October or in the fall.
Yeah, it was incredible. Purple skies. Okay, I'm live. Oh, it's on camera. Morgan just came in to see what I was doing. I said, "We're live. You're on camera." Because I have yeah. Hang on a second. All right. Let's see. Boom, boom. There we go. Okay, I got you. You're tagged. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Welcome, everybody.
Awesome.
Let's go over here. Boom. All right. All right. This is episode, somebody tell me, I think 41. And we got an old friend in the house. We, like many of us, we connected over the years here and there through comments, posts, messages, and other things. And yeah, in the flow, he hit me up or I hit you up. I don't remember what happened. But Victor, welcome to the sacred space. It felt very resonant and aligning the way we connected. And I'm just trying to, create a space where we can be transparent and just open and honest, with a bunch of people watching. So
Right on,
welcome.
man.
Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm sorry, I'm turning up my volume a little bit. Thank you for having me. Yeah. And this, what a space you've created. I think it was summer before last, and you were talking about coming into like an open space, right? Like a gathering space. I think it was pretty much before the last Sology Fest, right? And you got on YouTube and you were on a rant, and you were talking about coming into an open space, and it was populating, and it was it's exciting to see, and it was really awesome because right around that same time I was also going through that as well. I was, in my own world, I'm like, I here's a crazy story, man. For transparency, I might sound like I'm insane or whatever, but I grew a cantaloupe vine that summer. Okay, and I harvested my first cantaloupe, and I had a hard time because what I was using, I didn't want to grow in the dirt. I had to have a pot, and then whatever it climbed on was black, right? And so it got too hot and burned the plant. But I got to harvest a cantaloupe. And so I harvested the cantaloupe, and then I kind of felt bad because I seen this thing, grow. I grew the plant from a seed, right? And then I've been doing a deep dive into growing in pots and try to bring life to that soil, a microbiological dome similar to Mother Earth, right? And provide balance for my food. So I was like, I was wondering, I hope this cantaloupe doesn't feel fear because I separated it from the vine, right? And so I brought it, I held it, I smelled it, I felt it, and I was sitting there with it. At the same time, I was listening to some very beautiful angelic music, right? And then I started feeling a strangeness, like a vibration. So I shit you not, I set the melon down and I closed my eyes, and I can kind of see this energetic web connected to this melon. And what it showed me is there was no fear, but it showed me the beauty of the seasons, not the seasons, but the rain that would come in, the sunsets, the sunshines, the full moons, and the peace of it all. And at the end of the story, what it really wanted to do was drop to the ground so it could reprocreate, because that was its whole job. Okay. And so, and then I went with that, and Spirit was telling me that, we are all on our own, like, trail, you could say, right? And over time, we've picked up all these tools, and we're traveling well, and you can stray away from the group. And that's kind of what I find myself doing. And I was like, it's good to travel your own path, but don't raise the lands. Like, in essence, be destructive as you go through, and to travel peacefully, right? And then that afternoon, you were talking about coming into this open space, and it still kind of feels like that. Like we're populating something new now, and we're kind of like, okay, now what, man? What are we doing? All right. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that with you, bro.
That was a cool story. So would you say that you merged with the consciousness of cantaloupes? Was it like
That
a
was no, I just,
um,
I don't know, man. I could, out of my peripheral vision, okay, I can see where there was an energetic web, right? Just like the quantum, there was a quantum attachment to this thing, and I was shown like a telepathic story about all of the seasons that it went through, and there was no fear, there was no anything but just perfect peace, and enjoying the sun and stretching and growing, and you know and then when, like I said, so yeah, I don't know, there was a connection there.
far out? And I think that's, it's relevant because you're talking about like it's still occurring, and people have come on this new platform this year, 40 something shows, and a lot of them have talked about, or we've talked about, the fact that something is going on and it's kind of hard to explain, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel that's kind of where we're at in this place of
It's my daughter. I'm
we
sorry, I'm
can't
fooling around.
fully explain it all the time or any time. And oh, I didn't see it. Um, but like, almost like um we don't have to hey, hello, how you doing?
That's my daughter. She
How you
doesn't want to
doing?
be on camera.
um anyway, all right. All right.
It's very
Um
hard, very hard.
I don't know.
And I feel you, man.
I had the thoughts go,
No,
there's a
I
lag.
feel
Go
you,
ahead.
because
Keep going.
it's like, I don't really, I never did buy into Christmas much. And so this year for me was especially just, call me the Grinch. It's okay. I do a great Grinch impression in a loving way. But it seemed like after the first of the year, something had changed. It's like I had a grip on myself, and how I interact, and then I found that, man, like the second or third of the year, I found myself having a bad day, and then I'm like, man, I'm truly having a bad day, and then so I'm calling things out as I'm having this bad day. I'm like, well, I better be careful because I'm going to back into somebody or something like that. And sure enough, as I was saying it, somebody honked at me, and yeah, and so as the day went on, I was like, wow, normally I can navigate through this very easily and these things don't happen, but everything was different this day. And so as the day progressed, I figured it out. I just needed to be an allowance of allowing myself to have a bad day for once. It's okay. Right. And then especially because we know, um, as the human being, we are just as much energy as we are physicality. So energy travels like this. What is the human body? We are the capacitor that maybe can help steady the flow of energy, right? But not it, reality says that we're not going to have the best day all the time. And so I was an allowance of that. And then for the whole rest of that week, I ran into other people who were just like, man, I'm having a bad day. I don't know, it's like, it was strange. Yeah.
Well, I think there's been a lot of strange days in 2025.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of a wide array of new frequency experiences, maybe you might say, new
Yeah.
thoughts, new
Yes.
awareness of an expanded level of communication that involves different things. Franco de Nicola, I don't know if you remember him,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but he used to talk about when we got to this point, our active consciousness would alter the makeup, the demographics of it, the representation of it, like this percent ego, this percent conscious mind, etc.,
Yeah.
would change in a way where the voice would become more, I guess you could say, more of our multidimensional or soul voice, higher self voice, that type of thing. I
Mm.
was thinking today or feeling today, I felt a lot of energy today, a whole lot of energy. I particularly in my throat chakra, and and I don't know what's going on, but it felt really, really powerful. And there's a lady on Facebook named Pat Donworth that always has the flare report every day, like the
Mm-hmm.
solar flares and the Schumann, and she understands all that stuff. It's kind of her thing. And every now and then I'll hear about these geomagnetic storms. Um, and I don't really know what they are. I just know they emit from the sun and then 24 hours or some time later they hit the earth and sometimes they miss the earth. But I,
Yes.
I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm going to check Pat Donworth's page, and thank you, Pat Donworth, for your service, because I know a lot of people go to her page. And so I went to see her daily report for today, Wednesday, and it must have been like 2, 3 hours ago. And normally, when you go down her report, it's about the solar flares. But this time it was different. We had five geomagnetic storms, G1s and G2s, I think what they were. Not that I know what that means, but five of them by like 7 or 8 o'clock this morning on the East Coast of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I,
There's a lot of stuff moving really fast, and obviously there's a lot of stuff being disclosed and this and that. But listening to you and then like kind of gathering my thoughts of my day so far, uh, it's like, you know what? We all know something's happening.
yes.
We all know something's happening. It's not about Elon Musk or your politics or, uh, you know, being mad at people that charge for energy work, or it's not about any of that. It's about something that we can't even really explain fully, but what we can do is continue to be present with it and learn, how it works, that type of thing, as Morgan puts it. But I mean, it's really happening. So to over these years to get the instructions and the guidance and and the inspiration that got us all here in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, okay, this is what you asked for, and go play and have fun. And it's and I don't know. It's yeah, I guess my point is this is the real story. It's not any of that out there. It's really us. That's how I feel. and have felt most of this morning with everything going on. Thank you.
Oh, Todd, I totally agree. It's like my journey's been, a little. Well, I'm not, I'm not going to say it like that. As I sat in bliss one day, I found myself in bliss, and I realized that I didn't get there by myself. And then, as I'm sitting there, I realized, look, this is amazing. Wow, this is like the first bliss state I've ever felt for more than, you know, small, very minute amounts of time. And I'm like, you're sitting in bliss, and even though the world's just like burning down all around you, all this shit's going on, and but it was okay. And I think, and that this was years ago, and I think now is very much different, because it seems like not so long ago, maybe 2018 or 19, we had this strange wave that came through that people called Christ consciousness, right? And left us all like, wow, that's wild. And then now, and then so those during that time as well, the stories of the golden Buddha came up, right? And it was about all of the gold and the beauty within. All right. And now we're hearing, now we're, maybe that was preparation for now, because now you, it's so hard to, like, okay, I'm going to use my life as an example. My son was talking about getting a job the other day, and he was coming up with a bunch of excuses. And I tried to tell him at the time, I was like, why are you doing this to yourself? It's like you're throwing grenades into your field. And he got upset with me. But a couple of days later, I was able to sit down with him, because I do believe it was on the 25th, and that was another weird energy day. And I agree with you about the energy, because it seems like these geomagnetic storms affect me personally. I get, you can have states of euphoria, feel like you're going to pass out, headaches, all kinds of crazy stuff, or just be totally lethargic and not want to go outside and stay in bed all day. And that was a side note. But getting back to that, I was like, son, I, and the generations before us were born into uh, a state of neural linguistic programming. Okay. And nowadays it's so prevalent. You need to break that, because when you were talking about all of these things, that your voice, you're speaking your life into reality. And and then we're starting to see that life truly is the mirror, right? And we're stepping into that more. Um, and so that day he was feeling very weird, as I was, and he's like, man, today I'm just trying to ground myself. And so there is a lot of energy, and I don't know exactly how, if it affects us, if it's really rebuilding our DNA and these kinds of things. I think anything's possible. But one thing's for sure, Todd, things are changing, and here we are talking about it. And like, for instance, I don't think we need to really be in fear. I've been involved in crews on what you would call a quick build cruise. Okay. We got about 7,000 people together one time, all with one mission, was to build a building for God. And we started on a Wednesday with the already ready slab. And by Sunday morning, we had electricity, running water, air conditioning, a fully completed building. And there was food served, there were bathrooms, there was, everything went off without a hitch. No arguing, no dealing with the ego or anything like that. We all had a common goal. And when we came together, there's nothing that can't be achieved, when we get into that state. And it's like, what's the what's the magic word or the magic meme now that starts this, right? Because once it starts, it's going to take off like wildfire.
If you face this issue instead of avoiding it. I get
You cut
it,
out.
right?
I think it was my signal. The magic word. What? What's the magic word? What?
I just can't do. I don't know why I can't.
What'd you say?
The magic word. Damn it! I don't.
I thought I
was-
heard. I thought I heard you say that. It's okay. It's okay. My internet signal went out.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but
Right.
we were all working with the magic. What is the magic meme or the magic word or something that goes viral the next time? Like similar to "Where's the beef?" How far did that go? Right. I think something like that's coming, and I don't believe we need to be in fear because we got everybody already in place for it. We already have, people that deal with, teachers, doctors, blue collar people, plumbers, electricians. Everybody's already there. You know what I'm saying? But yet we are so separated, and I think right now, I think we're starting to break through that. I've noticed in my community, I'm noticing a change. People are more friendly. Even though I'm right on the border, we have a lot of serious situations going on here, quite a bit. But people you can see a change. You can see a change. And it's very, very exciting for me, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We're here to listen to you. When you talk about you can see the change in your community, you're speaking of the town you live in, Del Rio, or that area in the physicality, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there's a bad lag. It's okay. Um, how long have you been seeing that happening, and is it quickening?
That's a good question because I've been asking myself this. It's I would say it's been quickening, and it's been very, very gentle and subtle, right? But it's not it if you're not seeing it, maybe you won't. If you're not looking for it, I'm sorry. If you're not looking for it, maybe you won't see it because um, things for me have shifted. It's like I'm seeing miracles in daily life of perfection, just things falling into place. It's, you know, um, for instance, my daughter and I were at the store the other day and we wanted to make salad and she had forgot she needed croutons. Well, guess what? The croutons were right by her shoulder, a foot away. She looked over, she's like, "Oh, check it out. There's croutons right there." And silly, crazy things like that if you weren't maybe if you weren't looking, you would never see it, even though it's right in front of our noses.
Yeah, I like that. I think people can relate to that. Everybody has their own clairs, their own method of awareness or experience or a combination. And a lot of times, at least in the past, we kind of underestimated our own way of doing it because we saw other people doing it in, say, you know, more impressive or attractive ways or cool or unique or whatever. But when I listen to you and thinking about some of these other shows and just the way things are happening, this that you're speaking of or that we're chasing to describe is subtle and it's steady, like a heartbeat, that's getting a little bit louder and a little bit louder. And it's a strange place because there is no force. And as we're trying to get adjusted to this flow, as we say, the human part of us, the human parts of us, I should say, uh, has, has something to say, something to feel from time to time. And even that is starting to get softer, I guess you would say.
Mm.
But it's a, you know, I said the last week, it's not just the multidimensionality of, let's just say, our non-physical aspects, if that even makes sense, but the multidimensionality of the human, the bodies of the human, the aspects of the human, whether they are identities dying or uh, the gold from the human experiences that we're bringing to the table to unite with the rest of our multidimensionality. You know, uh, it's trippy, and I think what you said about fear, uh, I would say, if you know, at first blush, just to think about it, because I really hadn't thought about it till you brought it up. But even fear, as far as I can see, anyway. Now maybe the vast majority of the world doesn't feel that way. I don't know, but to me, it feels less and less and less of a construct. You know,
Mm.
it's almost like, okay, well, you know, we've gotten to a point of intelligence, you might say, or awareness, where we say, well, what's the point of me fearing? Now, if it comes in, I'll sit with it, but we're not going to have a long-term relationship anymore. It's more like a stutter step. You
Yeah,
know, does that make sense?
it totally does. It totally does because you know we know that or well, here's a different way to think about it. We were never actually taught how to deal with our emotions or what they are, you know, and so and then with all the distractions and the shenanigans that human beings go through on a daily basis to sustain their lives, their families, you know, um, it's kind of very stressful. These are things that they're not natural, right? And actually stress is accumulative. And so people are stepping out of that. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Um, it's like I'm not being distracted by the shenanigans anymore. I'm not following politics. It's like we've been shown something new, Todd. I'm the way I see it. It kind of goes back to an experience I had where I I had a spontaneous out of body experience, right? And so, but before I got there, I was in a group where we wanted to teach people quantum healing. Okay, and so the human being, our energy is connected to this quantum field, right? We interact with it on a daily basis. The words that we're saying right now is our active creational force. But let me get to the point. I'm just saying a bunch of words and not really saying anything. Um, I learned that this energy cannot be destroyed. It doesn't dissipate. It doesn't go anywhere, right? But our bodies, we are actually a technology. Okay, where does Victor dwell? Is he here in the heart? Is he in the brain, or is he of soul? Right, and then we come into what is heart brain cohesion, which is something that's very simple to explain with the illustration about when you're in love you feel it here, or when you're hurt you feel it here, right? Getting back to the emotions, I've come to realize that intense love and intense hurt or pain is almost felt exactly the same way. It's the emotion that is attached to them that is the only thing that's different, but we still feel it in the same place, if that makes any sense. And so we're coming into a new paradigm with what we've learned that, okay, so if I am this energetic being, where does my energy come from? What feeds me? That is, there has to be a source. Turns out, if that is, I talk to this source, right? And it tells me, stop hiding your light. Follow my footsteps. You're doing perfect. What? No. I can't do that. I'm not good enough to be this holy, whatever. I can't do that, and I keep getting nudged along the way, you know, and, and so now, I keep stepping, and now I'm trying to keep, from hiding my light and sharing, and, um, we're learning to be the masters of our world, and what we see is the mirror of our creation, right? And so we're trying to break through this NLP programming to where we keep ourselves locked up in a mental construct that is, it was like being in prison for 20 years, realizing the door was unlocked.
20 millennia. But
Yeah,
but
man.
for me, and I'm me, everybody's got their own perspective. I should say perception, because that's probably the better way to say it. And every one of them obviously is valid. It's our experience. It's how we do it, how we might explain it, how we feel about it. But even the narratives are the narratives are boring me.
You're right.
Whether they're the galactic wars or Trump and Biden or whatever, Illuminati, and I don't care. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even ancient civilizations, and everything is a pull or an inducement to me, right? Like, for instance, if you as an example, okay, the old saying, take it with a grain of salt. So on the day that they let out whatever 80,000 JFK files, suddenly there's this discovery of these gigantic pillars beneath the pyramids in Egypt. Now, I question whether that information has been known. I question, why is it coming out on that day? I'm not a conspiracy. It's not from that point of view. It's from the point of view that this is all really a distraction, but my space, my space with my loved ones, my community, like a really, when we talk about grounding and talk about embodying and presence, like, it just feels like everything out there is taking away
Mm.
from this presence that's, some people might call it embodiment. Well, if many people are embodying, then that must mean there's some relationship to that in terms of the collective energy into our relationship with Mother Earth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and I don't know. It's a really strange twist. Uh, I don't mean twist in a bad way. I just mean it literally feels like a new world that operates in a whole new way. And many of the things, including trying to explain it right now, are futile and more futile, and unnecessary, because the energy's speaking for itself, something like that. That's as best I can do. I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying that the narratives have gotten old for me, and I don't, and the causes and the old purposes, it's almost too, I guess I would say it this way. I feel like we did what we came here to do. All right. I feel like we did what we came here to do. We've underestimated it, and we're now reaping what we've sown. And the prize is to live a new experience that the universal's never had before on the other side of this series of incarnations, something like that.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, because it's all like, I've been feeling the exact same way. I couldn't hardly even go out into public for most of February. About 2/3 of January, most of February, and why? Because It's like, I don't know, maybe we woke up after the first of the year. It's like, well, damn, did it shift? You know, and it didn't, or did it? It did. And then here we are. We are populating this new space. And I think one of the keys to this is communication. And I think you have such a wonderful platform for this, you know? And because if we could share just in our innocence, being authentic, ask questions, and share it with each other, then, you know, we get into this creational flow, right? And then so the quantum field, the source of this whatever we're in, Todd, has to accommodate, or it is accommodating for that. So now we're like, okay, so if I'm a fractal of source creator and physicality here to create and just love and be and have fun and be in joy and not under all this other garbage trying to put on us, then the system, the energetic system, therefore supports me perfectly as well. And I, and then you know how I got to that. I live in Texas. I have very hard dirt. Uh, there was a a mushroom that came up in the backyard, about that tall, about yay big around, and it broke through some serious hard dirt to get there, right? And here I am thinking about mycelium. And so if you look at just the microbiological environment of Mother Earth and how it supports, everything is supported perfectly, right? And then if you look at the animal kingdom, same thing. And then Mother Nature also supply, with the vegetation and just for the animals and humans. And it seems to me like we're the only disruption here, mankind. And I think it's time to break into or out of a new way, out of an old way and into a new way. Not break into, but it's time for us to allow it to be okay, maybe to maybe
I don't know.
propose a
Where
new
does
idea.
what? Yeah, yeah, I get you. Yes, like you could even go into like innovations and technology and way of life, but to me, it's still something different. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that okay, let's put it this way. The potential, the reality, I'm not saying I'm perfect on this. I'm just saying the potential for sure, the reality quite possibly, probably is on the other side of non-judgment. And you can't just say I'm non-judgmental because the energy speaks for itself, but the reality is there is no judgment. There is no interference in this place that we're stepping into and creating. It is what you talked about earlier to me. You're like, where does this come from? Well, to me, that feels like, okay, where is that consciousness? Let me pull that down from the morphic field. Let me pull that down from the Akashic records. No, it comes, I'm consciousness, your consciousness, we're consciousness. We don't have to chase that. It's
Mm-hmm.
something, in other words, to me, I may not be the most pious or, follow the best diets or whatever the case is, but I'm understanding that there's this place of non-judgment of self and the external that can be attained and sustained consciously and consistent, more and more consistently. That when we're in that space, that's just one way to kind of describe going through a door. Probably has many doors. There's a lot of things there. There's no suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
There's an understanding that truly beyond the words that we spoke all these years, where your attention and attention grows, intention and all that, whatever that saying is. But like we're actually, to me anyway, starting to be coherent with the simple, very simple universal or infinite properties of consciousness, and we're in the body doing it. Uh, and that's when we're awake. So, like, I don't know what's happening when we're sleeping, but that seems to be really ratcheting up as well. Lucid dreams, people, I mean, and we've talked about this over the years, but it's becoming more contagious. It's becoming more frequent. You know what I mean? More prevalent. And I agree with you. Probably the only thing that it doesn't have going for it, so to speak, is you don't see it on the internet. You don't see it being talked about. You see all the things that were talked about being disclosed, whether they're real or they're not. What about what's happening to these individuals, their personal stories? And I mean, beyond what we talked about before, past the narratives, past the victim consciousness, past the limited awareness, into a place where it's involving our physical, emotional, spiritual, mental transformation, to include going into a light body or lighter frequency uh, realm or dimension. Now, this is the thing for me that keeps me here, you might say. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not going to be the same old anymore. I can feel it. I know it. You can sense it. I don't know what that means. We could blow up tomorrow. You know what I mean? But that's not even you know what I mean? That doesn't even make sense, because we continue. This consciousness that, we were talking about continues.
It does. It's so beautiful. And then are we moving into oneness? Can we move into do no harm? Right? Because if I hurt another, I hurt myself. Um, I Are we doing it? I think we are. I've seen. Okay, so in Del Rio, there's a lot of people that's been to prison here. A lot of guys been to prison because they get caught running marijuana across checkpoints. Got a neighbor, Mr. Thugalicious. He's been in prison for 15 years. He's recently got out, and his wife passed away. And I've been talking to him a little bit, but they're very closed, very very hard-hearted. That's what they're taught. And he told me his wife died, and I didn't even know, man. I apologized to him, and I asked him, "Hey, man, can I give you a hug?" It's like, yeah. I gave him a hug, and that affected him, and he had to go. And so little things like that, when we can be human with one another, man. And like me, I wanted to get back to being able to walk in my innocence through life again. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're headed that way. I don't believe that we came here to learn what consciousness was and say, okay, wow, that's really cool, and then not do anything with it. But life is too beautiful.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's the only thing we have, right? Is living, like we're living right now. You
yeah,
know what I mean? But
yes,
and there is just a colossal amount of narratives and stories and possibilities and higher beings and lower beings and
yes, yes,
malevolent and benevolent and this and it to me, it's like, how do you take this down to the nth degree? How do you take it down to that consciousness that we're talking about? We've been all chasing all these years, and now I think what's happening, discovering it in ourselves as ourselves, and it comes back like there's nothing more powerful that I can do, and I may not be doing it yet, moment after moment after moment, to where it becomes a continuous, you know what I mean? Uh, there's nothing I can do more powerful, given all that complication and all those different things and all the multidimensionality in my consciousness now. There's nothing I can do more powerful than to be myself. And that
Exactly.
contains like a myriad of components, just from what do I feel like eating? What do I feel like doing? Who do I want to reach out to? What do I want to do? I mean, it sounds absolutely absurd, and but everything we've known here has been upside down. And the other thing I'll say too, and I'll give it back to you, is I have a little exercise here since we've been in this place in Mexico for about 4 or 5 months, and because I have a view of the beach, is to look at the beach and then close my eyes. Taking nature, taking the mother, and all of that, and then close my eyes, and there's a mushroom cloud from a bomb, or a tsunami or whatever, and just sit with both ends of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm not perfect on this. I'm just saying this is the space I'm. How can you figure out? How can you be what you want to be if you haven't figured out what you want to be? Because you can't figure out what you want to be if I'm going to speak for myself. If I'm tied into all these presentations of reality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because if I truly feel, which I do, that the most powerful thing I can do is to be myself, which serves you, the other, and the collective equally to me. Because, like you said, I've got no ill will. I'm even for myself, self-respect, self-honor, self-love is all growing, I think, for all of us. Self-compassion, non-judgment. I mean, that's a huge one. The judgment thing is huge to me. Like it's just
Yes.
absolutely, like the telltale sign, on that end of it. And the other end of it's humility, which you can't fake, and you have these moments and you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to start crying. Thank you for letting me be here. Oh.
I agree, Todd. You brought up a lot of good stuff right there. Oh my God, I was going to say something and it's just like, whoop, it'll come back. But what if, we are, how would you say, learning to coalesce with this new energy and the being, right? I've been taking care of bees. Okay, I started an experiment. In October, we have monarch butterflies go through here. So I put some sugar water out for the butterflies and hoping to be in assistance, for them. Well, the butterflies didn't find the sugar water, but the bees did. So I decided to support them over the winter. So I've been feeding these bees pretty much every morning sugar water. And okay, so it's an amazing experience. The bees have taught me so much. They don't leave each other behind. When it's cold, they will stay with the other until the other one's able to get back to the nest. There's no, it's all organized, beautiful chaos, but there's no fighting, And so I kind of made a connection with the bees when I just came in and say, wow, you guys are beautiful. And they're like, we know how to, we don't want any problems, but we know how to defend ourselves. But there's no, ill will or anything like that. And so I've sat with the bees and went into a breathing because a lot of people might have a little fear with bees. Hearing the buzz, like especially on a swarm, may cause anxiety, right? And it did for me. So, but I breathed my way through it, and I found that it actually helped me reset my nervous system a little bit. And so, I think paying attention to the beautiful subtleties is where the magic is, because if we don't look, we won't see. If we don't breathe into it, we won't feel it. And so, and maybe what if we look too hard and overlook? You know, maybe we have to be comfortable with just being in the state of being and being okay with just being. And it's okay.
That's what I mean. I think there's I feel like I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said for the God, we're still in it, aren't we? You had the eclipse, and then
Oh,
you had
yeah.
the equinox, and then we had the solar eclipse. Um, and regardless of the different people that talked about the Mayan and the precession of the equinox, and it was truly the demarcation line, the date, the 21st or the 22nd or the 20th. Uh, it seems like that we were like in a spin cycle, you know, the wash, spin, second rinse, boom, 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 through January, February, and March, and I believe there was a lot of humanness, a lot of coming to terms with you know, our past, or our identities, or our lack thereof, or whatever, all that stuff. Uh, Even though there's, I'm sure for many people, that higher intel, that higher knowing coming in as well. But it feels like what's left to do. You know, like we were saying, like what do we do? And I don't know. I mean, it would make sense to me to create. And I don't know about you, I can feel the desire, the urge, the fire to do it, but it's going, take your time. No, hang on. Just, well, wait a minute. How am I going to pay my bills, and how am I going to do, you know? No,
Mm.
just take your time. And that's to me another way to describe the weirdness of the transition. Like it's an all or nothing thing. And
Mhm.
we've always kind of known we were headed this way, but it's taken us all the way now. And we can literally step to the other side. And it's like, oh, step to the other side and everything's going to be fine. No, but we can do it. The more we do it, the more familiar it becomes, the more confident we become, and the more that you know, third energy or universal energy works with us. I think you were talking about that earlier, how the energy is working with us, you know,
Mhm.
in a way that's more pronounced as well. So, you know, and then you have a conversation with a brother for 55 minutes and you're like, get off of it and go, what happened? You know, like, did we figure anything out? You know?
We did a big circle, it sounds like. Well, yeah, did we figure it? I think at least we know one thing. We got this. Whatever we got, we got it. We got it, bro. And I think the fears left the house. But like you say, there's a sense of it's okay, relax, everything's gonna work itself out. Um, and this kind of goes with one thing I would love to share is that back in 2019, I had well, let me backtrack a little bit, bro. First of all, I got to thank you for Sology, Todd, because you uh, brought on a lot of beautiful people, and I had a lot of just weird, amazing, miraculous, supernatural experiences. And, you know, like these crazy initiations, I don't know, past life memories just popping up. And so I had a lucid, or I don't know, it was more of an out of body or a astral projection, I guess you would want to say, night. And so I left my body and I met with this energy being that just looked like squiggly lines. It was so bright, but he spoke to me telepathically. He said, he handed me like this, a seed, and it had a little sprout coming out. And he said, love yourself. Like, okay, try to love myself real hard, and the seed starts closing, right? And he's like, no, 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 no. And then he kind of showed me that what we are as a human being is we're kind of like technology. There's positive and negative creates your connection. Okay. And then when we find balance is within ourselves, and what I would attribute that to, it would be heart brain cohesion. When we have heart brain cohesion, then we're tapped into divine source, creational guidance, information, that kind of thing. And so he showed me all of these things, and I'm like, okay. And then he's like, and he said, because uh, he didn't say it like that. He said, let me show you something. I want to show you what the subconscious collective of humankind really looks like. And so when he said that, the earth kind of came into place, and it looked like it was about ready to burst into flames. Okay. And so we went deep into it and saw people just in panic and anger and just pure chaos, confusion. And so and I'm like, wow, this is really, really, just totally chaotic, very uncomfortable, right? And so then we zoomed back out, and we could see that the earth looked like it was going to burst into flames at any second. And he kept telling me, just love yourself, love yourself. And he pointed my direction to the seed, who had the little sprout coming out of it. And then he took the seed and he put it on an easel, right there on an easel. Okay. And then he looked, then we looked back at the earth, and then this rainbow like shot up from the surface of the earth, and then another one, and then another one, right? And then they started all just shooting up everywhere, right? And then there was a shift. And so I think we're in that now. And we're never ever separated from the source of whatever created us, never from a 100th of a millisecond. And I think, as we are connected to this source energy, then you could live your life in so many different ways, one of which could be likened to a walking prayer, maybe, right? And I kind of look at that as being perfectly imperfect. I'm a perfect freaking disaster, but I'm walking with God every step in that faith that it's okay.
Well said. The perfect imperfection.
Yeah.
Which was my whole point about the 55 minutes and the conversation. And because there is a full circle humorous aspect to it almost. Sometimes, like when we go through certain initiations or activations or periods, and we get to the other side, it's like our higher self or soul is laughing in a good way, you know, and our human can laugh with it. You know what I mean? Like we can laugh at ourselves, and there's wisdom in that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Todd. Please give me 1 second.
All right.
My neighbor came by. I'm sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption, bro.
No, man, it's all good. No, man, it's all good. I'm ready for reflection anyway. A little it's been a big day to me. And I mean, I feel like it's a big period. We still have what, two days or so before the eclipse, that second eclipse comes. So, but listen, man, it's been good catching up with you. And I think what I'm going to remember from this session the most is the mushroom that came through the hard ground uh, in the West Texas desert out in Del Rio. I mean, that pretty much kind of sums up that experience you had as well with the seed and the sprout,
Yes.
coming out. Uh, Almost like regardless, we come back. Yeah, like that old meme that has been around light worker circles for years with the Indian chief on it, and it says, "They thought they buried us, but they forgot we were seeds," or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing space with me too, Todd. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, man. And like I said, I really wanted to thank you for Sology in the past and what you're doing now, giving us people, a chance to come up and um, talk, spread some love. Um,
Be, yeah.
yeah,
I
thank you.
mean, it's thank you. I mean, it's like yeah, like I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, here we are, another 10 minutes into it, and we're just like, okay. No, but I really feel like that what you're saying is like at the heart of what you're saying is regardless of who you're saying it about or what you're saying platform you're saying it about, apply we all came here to be ourselves, I think is another way to put it. And I hate to sound like a cliche, but that seems to be where the power is. You know what I mean? Like it's such a it sounds really simple. You know what I mean? Uh it does. Morgan and I do sessions every night, and I think it's about she wrote a post on this, I think yesterday or today. And about 3 nights ago, we went through this whole thing. She did it was like 3 or 4 nights ago. And it was this, I guess when you get right down to it, it was persecution on one side and praise on the other side. So I immediately go to self persecution, self praise. There's a space in the middle where we can act beyond the point of embarrassment, beyond the point of self consciousness, where we're not worried about the persecution. We don't fear any persecution or what other people think. And we're not doing it to blow smoke up our ass or get some kind of external fix from the other side of the other face of those that might persecute you, these external things that really aren't us. I mean, that are really us
Mm-hmm.
and really it being about us. So, and the word that she came up with was freedom. And the more I think about that, the more I feel like, you know what, that's probably the easiest way or the best word, because none will do it justice, that we can use to be able to be free flowing 100% to the best of our ability, where we're not impeding or encroaching or interfering and vice versa. And
Yeah.
that to me would kind of describe the space. Now it looks crazy. Well, what else could it be but the convergence of a greater and greater, you brought up the bees, beehive, where everyone, every energy, every aspect, every entity is doing what they do. And it works in perfect harmony, like a symphony, like you were talking about those bees and the way they operate as a one mind. You know, and
And
it's been nice,
there's
man.
no clamoring over
Hey,
it. Yeah, no clamoring over it.
yeah,
The just a few days ago, at the end of the feeding they swarm. I don't know why they do that, but there had to be maybe 1,000. I don't know, but as
God,
they cycled out, right, about 30 of them at a time would just go over my body from my head down to my knees. I was sitting down, and they would just buzz over me like this, not touching me or anything,
wow.
buzzing me over like this. So I was like, wow, what the
Well,
heck's
they know.
going on here? And so I was
Right.
like, okay, I'm going to breathe into this. And I started breathing into it. And I had a DMT experience. It was amazing. And nature, I think, so far has been my biggest teacher. And I would never, ever have learned a lesson if I wasn't paying attention to the beautiful subtleties of just being in resonance or being in a peaceful state and looking,
Wow, that was a big one. A DMT experience. But the bees, I've seen a few videos over the years on bees and people having these encounters with them, and it's pretty amazing. And I think it goes, it's well worth mentioning as well that, you know, some of these things that were forecast, you know, say from 2012 on, we talked about it and we talked about it, and the animals are going to ascend, and they, you know, this and the bee, you know, but this is part of what's becoming more obvious or evident as well. So, like even the picture behind you or the picture behind me, I mean, everything's speaking, and the same can be said for everything that we experience, or that, you know, that you are part of that collaboration with those bees. It's not you, it's not them, it's, you mentioned oneness. I mean, it's actually occurring, and it's becoming more conscious. Maybe that's another way to say what we're all coming into. Hey, blessings of grace to you and your beautiful family, and say hello to Del Rio for me. And I don't know if I'll ever see that place again, but you never know.
It's been really good talking to you, Todd.
Yeah, man.
And, all righty.
Keep,
Yeah, you take care of yourself and stay cool, I guess, you know. Keep it up. You're doing amazing. You know.
they, does anybody feel that way? I don't feel that way.
I hear you, brother.
It's a different world. It's just a different world. And you can either run from it and say, oh man, I got my shit together, or you say, yeah, something's different. There's something different going on.
Yes.
Yeah, man. You take care. Keep shining. I'll see you around. All right.
Sending you love, bro.